Hey, shalom, shalom, all praises, honor, glory goes to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak, Wadash. Double honor to the apostles, elder bishops, a great millstone. Peace and blessings to you fellow brothers pushing out this word in truth and in sincerity. It's your brother Chanak coming back with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak, Wadash. And, I just want to do a quick lesson. Just going into how America, Babylon the Great is divided, and how our Lord spoke about how if a kingdom be divided, it cannot stand. Now, the inspiration of this is from, I guess they finally indicted Trump. Well, they indicted him, but he's in court now. According to, some articles that are out, he's in court and, they're charging him with so many different charges, but he was a former U.S. president, and he's getting ready to run 2024. Okay, and you can just see how there's that political division, between the right and the left, and it gets heated, man. Especially these Edomites, which this is their world, right? This is especially their baby America. They get enraged at Trump, and fights break out between the right and the left. Those are those political wars, and these are going to spill out to pretty much all out anarchy. All right, in the coming days, when the people just completely stop listening to the government, sedition. Well, they would try to charge Trump also with sedition with the January 7th thing in 2020. Okay, so this thing is, this thing is really heating up. So let me just, and it is all, a lot of it is all distractions and all folly, but nevertheless, we can see through all these things and get the spiritual understanding and very, and the spiritual understanding that this is the very time in which the Lord is getting ready to visit the earth. Okay, let me just read a little bit, and this is from RT, because I was watching Apostle Elder Tahar's video, and he was going into how Finland joined NATO. Maybe I might go into that too. That's a big thing, but I wanted to get on RT to see what they were talking about, and I seen this. But this thing has been actually for the last week or two. He got indicted, I want to say maybe last week. So within the last week or two, they were speaking about him being indicted and, trying to put charges on him. And this has happened many times. And I believe that he's going to beat it. And then if we make it that far, he's going to probably win that election. Okay, 2024. That's what it's kind of looking like in the spirit. And that's just going to just ramp up the prophecies even more. This is from RT.com. Trump under arrest in New York. The former U.S. president has entered a Manhattan courthouse to face what he calls politically motivated charges. And it is, but it's all theater. These are all characters, all right, in a movie. None of this, some things might be real, but none of this really is real. Now, it's only real to, people that are not in the know, but we very well understand, like the scriptures say, we are not ignorant of Satan's devices. These are one of the devices of how Satan rules, right? He had two horns like, was that Revelation 13, right? He had two horns like a lamb, but he spake as a dragon. Because here it is, you voting for the left or you voting for the right, but they're still moving forward with the same agenda. It hasn't gotten better, whether a Democrat is in there or whether a Republican is in there. It's all going to shit. Former U.S. President Donald Trump appeared at a Manhattan courtroom on Tuesday afternoon, where he was placed under arrest and accused of a series of charges. So they're trying to lock him up for all these different charges, which he probably gonna beat the charges. He's not even worried about it because it's all set up. Okay, this is all set up to bring more divide, more sensationalize these events more distractions. Here it is, you worrying about this, you worrying about that, And his base, his supporters, man, they love him. They love him, man. Okay, and when he goes out and speak, he breaks records. Okay, so this is just fueling race wars. This is fueling political wars. This is fueling class wars. Okay, the scriptures talk about what I'll bring that out. The Egyptian against the Egyptian. This is what this is. Okay, because you Edomites are supposed to be in one accord with each other. Okay, it says his attorneys, have denounced the move as a politically motivated witch hunt by the local district attorney Alvin Bragg, a registered Democrat. Let's look at this word. I know what it is. Witch hunt. What that means. And he's been saying that for years, because they've been trying to get him on all type of charges. He had classified documents at one of his residencies. They try to indict him on charges on multiple things. With the Russia thing, they try to tie him to Russia. They try to tie him to all these different things in which they can try to so-called lock him up. But it's not working, because it's all set up. If you truly believe that for the most part these things are real, then you gotta open you gotta get your eyes open. You gotta pray to the Lord. All right, because these things is all part of the script. You got the wicked elite. They're in charge of this current world. Okay. They're the so-called puppet masters in this world. But it's getting out of hand. A lot of things they can't control. A lot of things are so-called, spontaneous, or if you will, or organic. But a lot of these things have been set up from the beginning. Remember, there's a lot of witchcrafts and a lot of enchantments that go on before these things come physical. Okay, witch hunt definition. Just bear with me. I'm just gonna walk across the street. People be driving hella fast over here. Just bear with me. Right. So the witch hunt. It says a search for a subsequent persecution of a witch. Okay. This was all going back into the pretty much the ancient times, or more so the medieval times, when Jake was in rulership. There was a witch. They would track her down, burn her at the stake. So that's what he's likening it unto. They're trying to track him down. They're trying to call him a witch in a political sense, right? Not a physical sense. Allegorical. It says a campaign directed. This is the informal. That was historical definition. This is the informal definition. A campaign directed against a person or group holding unorthodox or unpopular views. And Trump is pretty much campaigned, or they paid him to have an unorthodox, unpopular, what's it called? The way that he rules. The word escaping me. The way that he runs, the way that he speaks, the way that he handles things. He'll he's not so much like your average politician, which uses sneaky words, euphemisms, a lot of deceitful. He comes out and straight up tells you what these things are going on. And he's set up to do that. See, he's a character. He's a character that has been placed in front of you to, rattle the fence, so to speak. Get things moving. Rattle your heart. Play on your heartstrings, and he's doing that. Because in 2016, when he got up in there, you had all these major what's it called? What is it? Marches against him, And then when you ask them, what is he doing that's bad? They can't even really tell you. They just hate his character. Okay, just like you watch a movie, a soap opera or whatever it may be, right? There's certain people, I watch certain movies, and man, I can't stand that character. You actually grow like a hatred for that person, and for the person as a whole, he could be a completely nice guy or she could be a completely nice guy, but that character in that movie, you be like, man, you see him on, doing a different movie, you just think about that character that they played, and it can't get out of your mind. So that's the same thing. These people are of course drunken off the philosophy, but they look at Donald Trump, and they can't get that character out of their mind. They hate him. And then you have the left that fuels that hate. So it's just a big mess. Okay? But let me go into the scripture. Okay? Let me go to Isaiah 19 first. It's going to be quick. This is nothing other than Egyptian against the Egyptian. All right? Isaiah 19. Yep, Isaiah 19:2. It says, and I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptians. Okay? Let me read that again. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. Now, this is talking about the modern day Egyptians. Because we know that, according to Revelation 11, right in 8, that this is spiritual Egypt, as well as spiritual Sodom. And under Biden, that was damn near the first thing that he did was, allow children or to get sex changes. That's, and to, protect that community, the alphabet community. And when I say, man, within the last couple of years, 3 years since this guy has gotten into office, man, they push that agenda heavy, and that's all I see everywhere, especially out here in Cali, Northern California. Okay, every day, it's like they're actively and on purpose hiring these people in these positions, especially these positions of services. These waiters and attendants. It's like they're hiring them on purpose. I'm like, God damn. But they're coming out, man. That's all part of the agenda of the wicked. Okay, so this place is spiritual Sodom, spiritual Egypt. All right, and these Edomites are the modern day Egyptians. Okay, and they're fighting against each other. They're literally throwing bows at each other. They literally going to war with each other. It's like that George Floyd thing. Remember the George Floyd thing, right? With all those. Give me a second. You had that George Floyd thing, and you had Antifa, which that was all set up. But you have this one Edomite, young Edomite. I think he was like 16. He had an assault rifle, and he pretty much killed 2 people, and he got off too. And they were both Edomites. So Esau is killing his own. That's the Most High setting the Egyptian against the Egyptian. And anytime Trump is in the news, that really rattles people's minds, man. That really gets them going. That really puts fuel to the fire. And that's essentially what he's there to do. Trump is there to add fuel to the fire, to add fuel to the already growing racial tensions. Okay, to divide and conquer even more. He's being used as a chess piece. Okay, just as Biden is being used as a chess piece. Just like these celebrities, they're being used as a chess piece to do what? To ultimately push the agenda of the wicked elite, which is their final agenda. Amongst they have a big pot of agendas, but the ultimate goal, that's going to pretty much solidify, put the stamp on, their agenda is the MOTB. So this is all roads Okay, I believe the Elder Quanawaf, he does a series, All Roads Lead to the MOTB, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, because they do. Okay, and Trump is playing a pivotal part in, okay, in this so-called story. Okay, this theater. All right, that's all that is. This political wars, they're all buddies. All right, but they put on the act just like WWE. You would think these two wrestlers, they hate each other's guts. You know, these two fighters hate each other's guts. No, I mean they're good. They about to make a payday. Okay, but they're just selling. They gotta sell the fight. That's what they call it in boxing. You gotta sell the fight. You gotta talk crap. You gotta bring up certain things. Maybe push him at the weigh-in. Say something about his mama at the weigh-in. You know, do certain interviews and talk about your opponent, how you gonna knock him out, how he's a bum. So it's the same. And what did that do? That rouse up. The people that like those particular fighters. They're fans. They rouse up their fans. You can see it on the comment boards. Oh, he gonna knock this boy out, just like with it. You got Tank Davis, Gervonta Davis against Ryan Garcia, and you can see the back and forth on the comment board. Ryan gonna knock him out on 30, this and that. Tank is gonna get this boy. And people arguing back and forth. It's the same. It's literally the same concept. Okay, it's the same thing. All right, and I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And you have the right, the so-called right, the Republicans, which are more conservative, which they call them conservative, more so, family values, and man and women are women, men are men. They're setting up sanctuary cities. Okay, First Amendment, Second Amendment, sanctuary cities. All right, the right to bear arms. All right, like Florida, you can just get a gun. Texas, you can just have a gun. You don't need a permit. You don't need nothing. You can just have it. Which that's how it was set up from the beginning. So they give credence to the Constitution. Okay. And then you have the left, the so-called Democrats. They're more liberal. They're open. They're about freedom of expression. They're about, chopping body parts off of children. Let me read verse 3. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof. And that's exactly what's happening. And we're going to read why Yahushua spoke about it. Because what the scriptures say, can two walk together, at least they be agreed. So you can't, like two business owners that come together, partners, they have to be on the same page. That's why they'll have, certain meetings, and they'll talk to each other a lot and go through certain things a lot, because they can't take the company into two different directions. It won't work. Okay. So America is going two different directions, and it's bringing nothing but chaos. But ultimately, the elites, the wicked elites that's orchestrating all these things, which is really the Most High, but he's using elites. They believe that they're going to be able to use this chaos, this dysfunction, to bring in a new order, which is not going to work. But they're going to get to a certain level. John the Revelator, he saw the chipping, the great chipping. Okay, Ezra saw the breaking down of this society. Well, Isaiah is seeing it. Isaiah, we're literally reading. Isaiah saw this in a vision. Okay, Egypt being destroyed. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof. And they shall seek to idols, and to charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to wizards. So it's going to be a complete breakdown to where these people are going to start seeking after these, witches and these warlocks, as well as these people in politics, these scientists, okay, that these economists that try to get some type of answers. But we know that it tells in Ecclesiastes the 12th chapter that the keepers of the house shall tremble. So everything's going to pretty much collapse in on itself. It's going to implode in on itself. Okay, it's not going to work because the Most High is setting this place up for a great fall. Why? Because they're divided. If they were all together, if the Edomites were all together on one accord, the Edomites here in America, they were all on one accord. Then the Edomites out there in, Europe and different places, right? Mainly Europe. Then they will never be. They're such a great power. They will never be taken down. But the Most High, has divided their language, so that's a barrier. Culture, that's a barrier. Okay, and then Esau, he's proud. Okay, so there's division there. Esau, he uses that tactic, divide and conquer amongst the tribes, right? Putting the different tribes against each other. The Jim Crow laws, right? But the Most High is using the same thing. All right, he's the author of this whole story. Matthew, and Luke, no, Mark. I'm sorry. I mean, I believe it's in all those chapters too, but Mark 3. Mark 3 and 24, and if a king, this is all red letters. Let me go to 23 first. Mark 3 and 23, and he called them unto him, and said unto them in parables, how can Satan cast out Satan? Because they were saying that the Lord Yahweh Shai was casting out devils, meaning evil spirits, spirits of infirmity, spirits of leprosy, spirits of injury, spirits of the mind, demonic spirits that, give you different ailments. He was casting them out. He was raising it. He was raising the dead. He was bringing the spirit back into the body. So they were saying that he's doing this by the spirit of Satan, and this is what he told them. And this is something that applies now. It's always applied like this. And if a kingdom, let me just read 23. And he called them unto him and said unto them, in peril, how can Satan cast out Satan? So how the hell can Satan be against Satan? Satan is set up to destroy and to kill, not to save, not to cleanse, not to heal. Okay? And if a kingdom be divided, verse 24, against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. So not only as a whole, the so-called Edomite kingdom, which you have the Russians, you have the Ukrainians, they're all ethnically the same people, the Edomites. Okay? But they have different cultures, they have different languages, they have beefs that date back thousands of years against each other, against each other, just like the tribes. Right? The tribes, they have beef with each other. There's wars amongst the tribes, even within the tribe, and then different tribes. Okay, Mexicans against blacks, and so on and so forth. Puerto Ricans against Dominicans. Okay, it's the same thing with Esau, Edom. Okay, the modern day Egyptian. Okay, and if a house be divided against itself, so not only with it, as a whole, the Edomites, but also here in America. Excuse me. Also here in America, they're divided. Okay? And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. Excuse me. Or that house cannot stand. So what does that mean? America is going down. America is being broken down from the inside out. Right? Because they can't be, Esau can't come together and agree on one thing. Certain Edomites believe that men and women they can change their genders. Other Edomites believe that they can't. Okay, certain Edomites believe that they should have guns. Other Edomites believe that they can't. Okay, so on and so forth. There's so many different things that they can't agree on. Okay, they're not even brotherly to themselves anymore. A lot of their children are suffering from addiction. A lot of their daughters are sex workers, whether that is doing videos, selling, doing them nasty videos online, or whether they're on OnlyFans. A lot of a lot of their children are, they're not doing too good. They're ashamed. It's like a shame unto them. All right. And then there's a lot of them are siding with Jake, the oppression of Jake, coming against their own. This is what we're reading it. It says, and if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, that's Esau's also Satan. He's not the spiritual demon Satan, but he comes in the spirit and power of Satan. That's why he's able to do all these miracles. Oh, and that I was talking to a brother about, that new technology, Chat GPT, which is old technology. The AI, that's a powerful tool if you know how to use it. That's like a miracle what that thing could do. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, damn, if this can do all this, this is what he released to the people. What does this man really have? Okay. So, hey, we're going to look out for those miracles, those pseudo miracles, if you will. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but has an end. Right. And Esau, he has an end. And his end is pretty much manifest. All right. For those that are in the know. All right. And that whole political war, right and left, which that literally, let's bring that out. That literally goes into Revelation 13. How this man rules, that beast. Okay. I just want to hit that point. But meanwhile, the whole time, even though he's portraying like he's against, there's a right, there's a left, it's really the same thing. Okay. They're still moving forward with the same agenda. Okay. Just different parts of the agenda are being accomplished depending on who's in there. Okay. The war still goes on. Jake still gets shot in the streets, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat, whether they got a brown face in there or they going to put a woman in there. Now, Biden, they might just have Biden drop dead, this year and have Kamala, get up in there. Okay. And run against Trump. We'll see. It's going to be a big mess. Let's just see. But let me, give me a second while I pull this scripture up. Right. Right. Revelation 13 and 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. This is the revitalized Roman Empire coming back, which is nothing other than the Edomites coming back into power. Okay. America being the main nation that rides upon the NATO and the EU. Okay, Revelation 7, you got to read Revelation 17. Okay, America's that whore that rides on top of the beast. And he had two horns like a lamb. Okay, and Esau, he uses those two horns, which are the two political parties, okay, that oppose each other. All right, and he gives you, okay, you're either leaning left or you're either leaning right. And he uses that against you. All right, to pretty much fulfill his agenda, and to put you in a box. Okay, you have to think like this. Okay, that's why they say he's speaking to his base. You might have grew up in a Republican house, you might have grew up in a Democrat house. So your way of thinking is already pretty much set in stone. And you build up hatred for the next party. So instead of you coming together with your fellow Edomite, speaking about all these unrighteous decrees, okay, and how your rights are being taken away from you and how to solve it, you're fighting against, the different, bills and the different, legislation that, one candidate is doing, or what this candidate did, or he didn't do enough about the war. He didn't do nothing about the jobs under his rulership, the job loss and this and that. And they'll just blame the previous president. Okay. So it's really a big show. Let's read it again. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And that's how the Roman Empire ran. was run. They had a political system just like that. Okay, the plebeians and the patricians. You have here in America and throughout all Europe, and they also force that upon all the other nations. They also have a senate, a president, or a same thing, prime minister. They have a cabinet. They have this. They have that. They have a so-called republic. They vote in. You have a particular term. Certain countries have longer terms than others, but they have, here in America, you can do 2 4-year terms. Okay, so that makes it think. You people think that, oh wow, we vote them in. Us the people, we have the power. All right, and they'll promise you this, they'll promise you that, and nothing gets done. And then the next God comes in and promise you this and promise you that, and nothing gets done. Outside of, let's read this. And he had 2 horns like a lamb and spake as a dragon. Meanwhile, all right, he's portraying like, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. Meanwhile, your rights are getting taken away from you. Okay, medicines are being pushed apart. When they put Trump in there, they had Trump put, they released the whole, the thing, the scam when Trump was in there. Okay, Biden, with Biden, what are they doing? Now you in war with Russia. Now if it was Trump, oh my God, people would be scared. He brought us to World War III, but it's Biden that did that. Biden is the one who is pretty much going to war with Russia, using Ukraine as a proxy, sending billions of dollars over there to Ukraine to fight this war. That's only building up, okay? All right, and Trump is going to come in there and play off of that. So it's all a big scam. That's pretty much it on that. We're gonna stay tuned of what all the things that are going on in this earth, because we are at the end. But this is just another sign, and the division amongst these spiritual, modern day Egyptians is only going to get worse. All right, to the point to where they're gonna literally take up arms, all right, against each other. Okay, and so-called take the country back, if you will. So until next time, shalom to the elect.